How's it going, everybody? Goblin Grenade Podcast episode 17. You know what time it is. It's intro time. My name is Dom Douglas, and I am back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year. With that comes some responsibilities, but also a lot of fun and excitement, and I'm never ashamed to look like a complete fool. Speaking of that, I love playing Magic the Gathering, so much so that I kind of think I play it a little bit too much, and I have some opinions. So now, XtremeTVOnline.com and XWW Wrestling on YouTube presents my podcast where I talk about Magic the Gathering. It's the Goblin Grenade Podcast. That is right, episode 17, and it's going to be a short one, I think. I always say that, and then I ramble for like 40 minutes. Nothing too crazy that's gone on in the land of gaming and or Magic the Gathering. BNR announcement, my short, possibly addiction to Final Fantasy XIV, and I am patiently waiting for an hour from now for the start of Diablo 4 Season 4. But first, let's get into the banned and restricted announcements for Magic the Gathering. They just recently did one the other day, and it was light, if you will. I wasn't aware that a BNR was coming out, banned and restricted, and they banned all that glitters in Pauper. Pauper is the format where it's commons only, and all that glitters is basically a 2-drop enchantment, 1 and a white, and target creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. And it was just the meta. Almost every deck that you could think of was playing it. Anything that was playing white, it was all enchantment-based decks. So I could get that. And then they did another announcement banning all the unglued sticker and attraction cards in Legacy and Vintage. Basically almost every format that can support attractions and stickers has had attractions and stickers banned because, having an unglued set, which is usually the most tongue-in-cheek, broken sets, usually not legal anywhere, be legal partially, might actually break your game. And it took them a long time to realize this. I am not even joking. Basically, you would, even if you didn't run stickers in your deck, but you had things that could copy creatures, any creature, you would need to actually have a sticker and attraction deck because Blank Goblin was such a big thing. Blank Goblin, when it comes into play, you put a sticker on it and it turns it into whatever name goblin that sticker has. But when you put the sticker on it, it comes into, you get 1 red mana for each vowel, A-E-I-O-U-N-Y, I think. It's listed on the card that Blank Goblin now has the name of. So if you wanted to copy Blank Goblin and get everything on it, you needed to present not only your basic 60 card with 15 card sideboard, but also your 10 card sticker deck, your 10 card attraction deck. So you had 3 decks that you had to bring, even if you weren't running stickers and attractions, just because you might run into Blank Goblin. So that took them way too longer to realize that. It should have never have been greenlit to begin with, and their explanation was kind of wonky when they said, we only thought this was going to see playing Commander. Did you play test it against Legacy and Vintage? Because, yes, they're not really supported by Wizards of the Coast as much, but they are viable formats still, and Legacy and Vintage have some of the most broken cards in the game between OG dual lands, mana crypts, ancient tombs, all the other stuff. You had to have known. So fortunately now you don't have to rock a 3-deck Legacy deck, even if you're not running stickers. If you want to play it in Commander, fine, play it in Commander, but, just so you know, you still have to bring your 100-card Commander deck, a 10-card attraction deck, 10-card sticker deck. I don't think it's worth it. And it complicated the game to the point that even people that weren't running Blank Goblin or sticker and attraction cards, or even like copy ability of creature cards, were rolling up to the Legacy and Vintage tournaments with a sticker deck and an attraction deck. There's nothing in the rules that say you can't do that, even if you don't support it. It's just to bluff your opponent out. So you're almost getting into the weird Yu-Gi-Oh! 1100 card shuffle deck meme at that point. That's as close as Magic will get. Yes, a Champion of Wits, I think, is the 240 card deck. That rolls around occasionally just as a lull. But, yeah, you're getting to that point with that because now you have 3 decks for no reason. And you're bringing 2 of them just to mess with your opponent because you want them to think that you're using stickers and attractions. They said every other format is in a healthy state. And at first, I was like, BS. Orcus Bowmasters one is still a thing in certain formats. They haven't really banned anything in Standard since they banned the 3 cards in Standard. Like almost a year ago, I think, at this point. It's when Fable the Mirror Breaker got banned. But looking at it, I can actually see the health of the game. Yes, they did say in Standard they were shocked at the amount of Esper control decks and Esper decks that were rolling around. But the top 8 was actually had 6 different decks in it. And there are checks and balances. And I have to say it, if I didn't have an issue with my computer uploading an update to Wizards of the Coast Arena program, it's a PC thing. I might have to do a soft reboot. A soft reinstall or something. I can see why. Modern, they're not touching because Modern Horizons 3 is coming out in a few weeks. Pioneer, Explorer, every other format they said is in a very healthy state right now. And they are keeping an eye on Urza's Saga in Legacy and Vintage, which is okay. I know, I just heard Loading Ready Run did Tap Concede Q&A, and Wheeler, I think, is on the Commander Committee. I'm not entirely sure. I could be very wrong on that, but he kind of alluded to that they are looking at Dockside Extortionist. That's one of the cards that he would love to see banned in Commander because it just makes too many treasures. Because people, just bounce it and get it back and bounce it and get it back, and you're just making tons of treasures ad nauseum, which is also a Magic card, but not to the extent that Dockside Extortionist can. Now, that being said, it would kind of suck because I do have 2 copies of Dockside Extortionist. I didn't buy them in singles. I bought the Commander deck that Dockside originally came in, not knowing that Dockside was going to be the freaking all-star that it's been. And also, I cracked one, I think, on Commander Masters, a borderless one. So, if it gets banned, it gets banned. It's not even in any of my decks yet, and I haven't even put it in Goblins, which is weird. Because it is a Goblin deck, and I didn't even put it in my Pirate deck yet, which is weirder. I improved. I bought cards for Kaisar, for the Fallout deck, so I now have a villain Kaisar deck almost. 1 or 2 heroes had to make it in, but I didn't have the heart to put McCready in, even though McCready in that deck is really good, but I just can't put it in. McCready's not a bad guy. He's not a bad kid. They use the kid version of McCready. He's in 3 at Lamplight, and then you run into him in 4 in Boston as an adult. It's just little touches like that. Like, like Elder Maxon, you meet from Fallout 4. You meet in Fallout 3. He's a child in Fallout 3, and by the time you see him in 4, he's grown up. So, did that, and then I bumped Dogmeat up a little bit with some of the cards I took out from Kaisar because I took some of the heroes out and just put it in Dogmeat and didn't really change the format that much because Dogmeat is an equipment deck, and I really don't roll with equipment decks that much. I don't like the glass cannon one-shot capability of equipment decks in Commander. That's just me. I don't like that. I don't like mill in Standard or any 60-card format. I don't like when people play 4 win conditions in the deck and the other 36 cards besides lands or whatever are just kill spells and counters. I hate that. I hate that so much. When I roll into it, I'm like, all right, you got me. Because I don't play decks that deal with that. Especially in best of 1. Best of 3, I can sideboard stuff in. But best of 1, it's like, I'm not waiting 10 minutes just to lose. So there's that. I would like to see, hopefully, that Gavin did say, Gavin Verhey did say in his column that he wrote about all that glitters that he is already looking at a card in Modern Horizons 3. He's like, unlike the rest of the Pauper command group, like, the Pauper group that like dictates the bans and restricted and whatnot, he's the only one who's seen cards because he developed Modern Horizons 3 as well. He is one of the guys in R&D for Modern Horizons 3. He is a Wizards of the Coast employee, has been for a long time. Probably one of the brightest spots in the company, if you ask me. He should be the public face of the company. They could get away with a lot more things if they did that. But please don't tarnish the name of Gavin Verhey. But he did say there is a card that he specifically is looking out for in Modern Horizons 3 because it is a common, and he kind of already knows it's probably going to get banned. Maybe depends. They're going to see what happens in that. Kind of similar to when Swiftspear got banned recently in Pauper as well. That was justifiable. Swiftspear should never have been downgraded to a common, if you ask me, in that set that it did, because it is such a powerful card. Yes, you put more copies of Swiftspear on the market, but jumping it from an uncommon to a common should never have happened. That being said, that's basically it for the ban and restricted announcements. They're patiently waiting to see what happens and falls on Modern Horizons 3. And I'm kind of excited for Modern Horizons 3 because Modern Horizons 2 treated me very, very well. To the point that I still hold out that I do not like Outlaws of Thunder Junction draft. I barely drafted the set. I did one pre-release, and I plan on kind of doing some things with Modern Horizons 3. A little bit more than I did for the last two sets. Now we're going to get into a quick update as well about Fallout 4. I know last week I said the next gen update was an absolute horror show. And it was. And then yesterday, May 13th, they dropped a 688 megabyte update. And guess what we got back? The ability to download mods easier. We got our ability to download mods back, at least on console. I don't know what happened in PC players. It looks like they fixed all the issues. It looks like you can actually hold guns now from the Creation Club that you got with the next gen update. And the ammo for it can be seen instead of this big red triangle with an exclamation point on it, which if you don't know, that's usually a game engine code, like visual letting you know this asset does not exist. So they fixed that. As I said, I don't know what they fixed on PC because I'm not a PC player. Yeah, I know I just upgraded the computer, but it's for editing and Magic the Gathering Arena. That's it. Mainly for the editing, which has been, I edited a whole 2-hour and 30-minute show in less than 24 hours. And it was glorious. I did so many cool things. Oh, it was so great. I felt so good getting a good, clean edit out. I'm waiting for it to be approved. They're going to watch it tonight to see if I didn't mess anything up, because I told them, hey, let me know if there's anything wrong. It is honestly the first show I edited with this new program, so mistakes could be made that I'm not catching. So please let me know. To the point that I had to render it 3 times. And it took 20 minutes to render the damn video, too. A 2.5 hour. If I tried that on my old stuff, it would have taken 4 hours. Like 2 to 4 hours at least. And now I'm just like, I'm so glad that I was able to get this computer and this upgrade. So yeah, Fallout 4 definitely fixed for the most part. Kind of rolled it out a little quicker than I thought. I thought Bethesda was just going to let this shit sit idly for like a year. We'll get around to it when we get around to it, because we're working on Starfield, which I've downloaded and played for like a half hour or so, and then just stopped. So, my opinion of Starfield still holds. It's not good. So we covered Magic, BNR, we covered the quick Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 14. Now, because I have Game Pass Ultimate, I have the ability to play the free trial version of Final Fantasy 14. I will always maintain that Game Pass Ultimate, or even PlayStation Network's equivalent, is, if I had a PS5, is what I would be doing. That's where my gaming entertainment's going to go. It's just too stupid of a value to not do for I get Ultimate, so I get PC stuff, but I also did it for EA Play because I do play Madden. Don't ask me to be in your online leagues or play online. I don't do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. It's just too aggravating. I just do seasons, simulations, drafts, and franchise mode. And I've been playing franchise mode since it came out on the PS1, when I think the Tennessee Titans became a football team. That year's Madden did a franchise mode so you can help build up the Titans and whatnot, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever, and ever since then, I have been a franchise player. To the point that one of my favorite games of the 360 era was NFL Head Coach. So, there you go. That's how deep into franchise mode I am, and it's deep in this, in Xbox X. So, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 for a couple days now. My game time has been a lot. And I can see why. It's a beautifully awesome game. You can play it I don't have to mess with other people. The world is amazing. The world building is great. And the short version that I'm going to give, Final Fantasy 14 originally launched, I think, 10 years ago. And it was bad. Very, very bad. To the point that they shut the game down for some amount of time and redid everything and made it to the behemoth that it is today. And they did it in such a great way on the first version of Final Fantasy 14, where basically everything dies. Like, you have to fight this like boss, and it's an unwinnable fight, and at the end of it, everything dies. So with A Realm Reborn, the story is basically like, from what I got so far, I'm very early into it. I just got access to the other three beginning cities. And everybody remembers that a fight happened 5 years ago. Everybody remembers it that was left alive. But nobody knows who fought it. They can't remember the people who fought. They remember what happened. They remember that Bahamut, the summon from Final Fantasy games and whatnot, I think, tried to destroy the world. Everybody went up against it, and it was a Pyrrhic victory where everybody lost. But those that survived can't remember who fought. No matter how hard you try, you can't remember. And I think it was such a good way of acknowledging the past that this game had while moving it into the future. So far, I'm just I'm basically a tank, a DPS tank, if you will. Just playing solo and whatnot. But I would be in the tank role, and just kind of doing that. I have a couple jobs unlocked, but mainly crafting jobs. I did the Thaumaturge and something else. But yeah, I'm getting into it. I played a lot, and I get the feeling I'm going to play this after I'm bored with Season 4 of Diablo in a couple weeks. Or, another Diablo season drops that's bad, because I know for a fact this season is going to be amazing. To the point I'm going to try to get this all done and out so I can start playing. I got the update for 2K24 going on. In the background, there was an update for that just dropped. I guess this is DLC pack or something like that. I have no idea. And the combat's smooth. The combat's good. The UI initially is something to deal with. There's a lot of information on that screen. I'll tell you that much. I like how they consoleized the control scheme for console players. It's good. You can hit left trigger to open up 8 different actions, right trigger to open up 8 different other actions, hold them both to open up another 8 actions. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I can't really type that much. I can't emote as good. So thank you to the people who rezzed me. If you saw Eowyn Valinor in the middle of one of the first dungeons with the pirates, just dead in a fate. It's because I got disconnected. And by the time I came back, I was dead. Yay. But I like the fact that you can do dungeons with CPU players. or real players. I should have done real players, but I didn't want to like risk it because I'm very like awkward in that scenario where if I'm not doing my job right, or if I'm taking too long, or if I get like grouped up with like 3 people that have done that run like 800 times. I want to experience some things, you know? So there's that. I can see me playing this a lot. And it's a free trial. Like the first 2 expansions are free on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox X Series or S as well. You need to be a Game Pass Ultimate member though, I think, to do the free trial for Final Fantasy 14. And you definitely can't play it on the Xbox One. It needs to be an S or an X series. So, them the bricks, I guess. But I don't care because I was already paying for Game Pass Ultimate because EA Play and Game Pass games. And I just downloaded Fallout 1 and 2 on PC too. I'm going to play those. Yeah, I lied. But I'm playing games that are 25 years old on PC, I guess. Only me. Only me. So, Magic the Gathering, Fallout 4 update, Final Fantasy 14, Season 4 Diablo 4. Season 4 Diablo 4, Loot Reborn, Iron Wolves join the battle. That's the season right there. You know, it's a massive update to everything, massive update to the loot, massive update to content, massive improvements to a lot of things. The content-wise, blood harvests are better now, or even more. They're taking Season 2 mechanics with the vampires and just kind of putting it in with the blood harvest now and upgrading that as well. They got their version of Greater Rifts, which is great because Nightmare Dungeons, I never liked Nightmare Dungeons. I try to blast through them as much as I can, and I'm grinding out for Glyph XP, and at a certain point, it just becomes impossibly boring for me with that. I'm also a solo player. You know, I don't group much, and if I do group, it's just to do the end content bosses, like the Uber bosses, if you will. So there's a lot of improvements to the loot. There's a lot of quality of life in loot. There's also a lot of less optimization on loot. You know, there's no more damage on Tuesdays, 5% chance. You know, you get all the gear drops with 3 affixes. And that's it, you know, and it's going to tailor it to what your class basically excels in. So, like, if you're a barbarian, you're going to get a lot of strength. If you're a mage, it's going to be intelligence. If you're a rogue, it's going to be dexterity, you know, on and on and on. So, I am excited for Diablo 4 Season 4. I have been since they announced it. I've been waiting for a month because they did have to delay the season for a month just to get everything going. But once again, it's the even-numbered dev team. Diablo 4 has 2 dev teams for the season. Season 1 team, well, we know what happened in Season 1. Season 2 was the shining light that it needed. Season 3, Construct, not good. Season 4, we're redoing everything. So, I'm not trying to, like, put on blast the odd-number dev teams, but so far, they're 0-2 on these things. And it seems like the even-number dev team is 2-0. And they've hit 2 Grand Slams, if you ask me. Because Season of the Vampire was amazing. I played that up until the end. Season 1, I barely got through. I barely got level 100 in Season 1. Season 2 was a blast to play. Season 3, Construct was, until they fixed it, a dud. And then they fixed it, and it was only a meh. So, Season 3 Construct I didn't like, but you could tell they were... Season 3, the Construct battles that you can get in randomly definitely were inspired by the Season 2 Vampire battles that you get into, because there was some inspiration there. And now the Season 2 Vampire, which is basically like you go into a zone and you can just fight a bunch of vampires until like you fill up this vial and then it pops and then the boss comes out. They're doing that for Hell Tides now. And there's 3 different levels on the Hell Tides. And when you hit the 3rd level, the Hell Tide boss comes. So I'm just glad that they're taking all the good bits. And there were some good bits in Season 1 and 3. And just using those because we like playing them. The player base likes playing them, and I'm glad that they're doing it. But remember, at the end of this year, the expansion comes out. So that's another thing. So they're basically probably at this point in the final stages of the first expansion for Diablo 4. Probably the only expansion for Diablo 4. Let's be real here. They only do one expansion for their games. Diablo 2 only had one. Diablo 3 only had one. Diablo 4 is going to have one. Diablo 1 had one, but it was like not by the developers. If you go into that story, that's a story to hear, where none of the Diablo 1 team was happy with that expansion. And I could, you know why. It's just so diametrically, to the rest of the game. So, we got that done talking. We got this done. We got that. What else is happening? I don't know. I really don't know. It was a light week for me. Getting the computer finally going, getting the edit, my first official wrestling show edit done, getting some XWW stuff done now. I can actually start doing the write-ups again. And I got to make up a lot of those. And basically, at this point, I'm just waiting the half hour for Diablo 4 Season 4. And I'm not going to make you wait either. I'm not going to let you on the hook for me for a half hour. But as I said, improvements are going to get made. The next thing that gets improved in this show is this camera will be something to hold this mic up. Instead of what I have right now, my 2 camera boxes and the DVD 2 Towers Extended Edition to keep the mic up. Kind of like this. So yeah, you know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually also fix the weird, this program can't do an update because something is already installing, even though the something that's already installing doesn't exist problem. That is apparently a thing when Windows 11 has a goofy, wonky thing happen. That took me a while too, doing that with the new computer, getting all that upgraded and whatnot, and DaVinci Resolve. It took me a couple days, but I figured out. I troubleshooted it. But now I might have to do a soft reboot, but I wanted to make sure that the edit was done first, just in case I lose anything. And on that note, one of the quickest podcasts I've done, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, audience, it's because Diablo 4 Season 4 is going to drop in a half hour, and I need to get my body ready. And by that, I mean coffee. Coffee and a snack. That being said, my name is Dom Douglas, back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year Award winner, and may your top deck always be mythic. Loot Reborn, here I come!